the way we see a community garden here is different than I think in other maybe more populated places. People don't come to a community garden in the lower Ninth Ward because they don't have land at their houses or their backyards. Right now in the lower Ninth Ward, there's nothing but land. About 40% of the properties are actually occupied in our neighborhood. So we have a lot of land available. People come together for the community aspect of it. My name is Jenga Mwendo. I'm an urban agriculture community organizer. I'm the founder and director of the Backyard Gardeners Network, which is a New Orleans lower Ninth Ward based nonprofit organization. Would everybody agree these are the most common places that you get your food?
Yes.
Yes. Or no, especially folks who live in the lower nine?
Yes.
So where are these located?
That's all you have. St. Bernard Parish is the one I go to.
St. Bernard Parish, Mr. Urban said that's all we have available. So I think that's what's unique about what we do, what the Backyard Gardeners Network does, is that the focus is really on the people. We're not and don't claim to be a production farm or a production garden. We're really focused on using this as a tool to bring people together.
It looks nice.
Thank you.
Yay.
I met your neighbor,
Okay.
Reverend Alcorn.
Okay.
She came to I think I left something in your box about the food planning committee. Food planning committee. Basically what we're doing is organizing our community to come up with a plan for what it is that we want in terms of food in our neighborhood, whether it's a grocery store, a food co-op, or a farm, or whatever, and take action to get it. So right now what that looks like is we have 2 community gardens here in the lower Ninth Ward. Right now we're here at the Laurentine Ernst Community Garden, which was a garden before Katrina. And when I came back to New Orleans in 2007, I started with organizing people to revitalize this garden. And so now we have community garden plots available for people in the neighborhood who are lower Ninth Ward residents to grow. That one over there where the corn is growing is Vincent. He lives in the neighborhood. He's an employee of the CSCD. This one actually is not somebody in the community. This is Xavier University students. One of the things that we really want to do is make connections with black universities and colleges here in New Orleans. Linked in with these stories about food is a story about community. So those two are really important, and we really want to encourage that community aspect of it. So with that, we also are developing a garden resource center, which is right over here, and I'll give you a tour of that. And the purpose of the garden resource center is to really provide an added support system for people who do want to grow. So they'll be able to get free seeds, they'll be able to get plants, they'll be able to have access to educational materials like books, seed catalogs, all brochures, all kinds of information. We'll have a tool lending library where they can borrow a tiller or shovels or whatever they might need for either a garden plot here at one of our community gardens or a garden at home. This house used to be just a blighted property. After Katrina, the woman who lived in it didn't come back, and it was basically falling apart. I found out that Preservation Resource Center, which is a local nonprofit that buys houses in historic neighborhoods and renovates them to historic standards and resells them, found out they owned it, and I already had a relationship with them, so I just called them up and asked them if we could have it, and they said yes. So it was really that easy. And they have a program where they will, they put funds toward renovating properties in historic neighborhoods. So they actually redid the foundation, redid some of the walls, redid the siding, the roof, everything. They basically rebuilt the house on the exterior of the house. And then we had volunteer groups. The CSCD and Historic Green put in this outdoor porch for us. And then on the other side, we had a wheelchair ramp put in. We want to make sure this house is accessible to everybody, and we also want to make it a welcoming place. And so that's one of the reasons why we put the porch on, and that's why we put the wheelchair ramp on. So this whole project is a lower Ninth Ward project. So the guy who did the electricity, he actually volunteered his time. He lives right around the corner, been in the lower Ninth Ward, if not born and raised here, been here for a long time. The guy who did the carpentry work here, is a longtime Lower Ninth Ward resident. The guy who did the plumbing is a New Orleans native. He's not from the Lower Nine, but he's a New Orleans native. So we really try to, to practice that, cooperative economics and keeping our money within the neighborhood, or at least, supporting New Orleans native businesses. And we're really proud of this. This is going to be the bathroom space. Because right now when people come to the garden, there's really nowhere for them to go to the bathroom. And that's something that maybe we take for granted, but people are not going to want to stay at the garden. They're not going to be able to stay at the garden if they can't use the bathroom. So having a bathroom here is key, and I'm looking forward to when that's open. And back here this is more storage space. We had the carpenter build this out. And so we'll be able to store things back there as well. And all of the walls, this is all old barge board that came off other houses. But the idea is that any cultural tradition needs a support system to sustain itself. People don't do things in isolation. So what we need to do is in order to encourage a cultural tradition to sustain, we have to create something. And I always use the analogy, and you have to bear with me with my analogy because it might sound surprising at first, but I compare it to McDonald's. McDonald's has a strong, amazingly strong support system around getting you to come in and buy the crap that they sell, right? They even put play equipment at their stores to rope children in. They make the food really cheap, so that you don't have to spend a lot of money to do it. You don't even have to get out of your car to do it. They make it really, really easy, and that is a support system. So I think we have to think about the same things in our own communities and think about what we can do to create support systems for people to do things that are going to be positive for our communities, that are going to create the kind of communities that we want. So, so that's a really important element in the work of the Backyard Gardeners Network. So there's a number of different ways that the Backyard Gardeners Network is impacting the community in the Lower Ninth Ward. I think one way is having us be able to revitalize lots. We have 2 lots right now. To revitalize land that was formerly blighted, that was formerly, when you look at them, there's a sense of despair, there's a sense of neglect, there's a sense of hopelessness, and being able to turn that around and then have that conversation be about hope. Have that conversation be about caring. Have that conversation be about, this neighborhood, wants to come back and wants to be stronger than it was before. So regardless of who, if whether you're involved in a garden or not involved in a garden, that's the kind of impact that the gardens will have on, on the people in the community. And I have people come, even folks who are not involved in the gardens come by on a regular basis and will say how much they appreciate it, just having the garden be there. And then again, the stories start coming out about how, they start talking about their connection with growing and with food. The Lower Ninth Ward was, kind of considered the country of New Orleans, so there's still a lot of folks who do that. So that leads into the second impact, which is creating more gardeners or creating gardeners for a longer time. By having the support system, people feel like this is something that I can do, this is something I can start up again, this is something I can continue doing, because I have other people around me. This is something I can start doing if people, if I haven't done it before, and I can learn from other people in the neighborhood. So now I can just go to my backyard, or I can go down the street to the community garden, and I can get fresh fruits and vegetables, that are going to sustain me and that are going to be better quality than anything you can buy in the store. So it's all, so it's a kind of returning to focusing on, the quality of the food rather than, how much the food costs. I was raised to see my life as a contribution. I was raised in an Afrocentric community that focused heavily on the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles. So constantly in my life, we were thinking about what does it mean to be unified? What does it mean to be self-determined? What does collective work and responsibility mean? What does cooperative economics mean? What does it mean to live your life with purpose? What does it mean to have faith? I'm now working with another organization, a Center for Sustainable Engagement and Development, another Lower Ninth Ward-based organization, on creating a neighborhood food plan that's authored by community leaders and residents, which will be an outline of exactly what it is that we want in our community and in terms of food, and then how we're going to go about getting it. So that's pure self-determination. Our email address is backyardgardeners@gmail.com. That's backyardgardeners@gmail.com. Backyardgardeners@gmail.com. Yeah, ultimately, I think I'll wait at the corner.